Hello YouTube, and welcome to the first in what I'm hoping is going to be a series of videos allowing for work. Today I'm going to be showing you how I do just the trim upon the armour. Maybe if we get time I might do a little bit of the filling in. Oops. But, well, there's not really much to say apart from I'll be starting with Balthazar Gold Air, because, you know, I like being poncy. And also, it's a little bit better because I don't have to fin it first, which saves me having to dip my brush into water, into the paint, into the water, into the palette. You know, all that jazz saves a little time. I will also be using, once this is dried, a dry brush of Sigmarite, and then followed by a dry brush of Necron Compound to get my brass effects for my trim and whatnot for his armour. That will all then be washed with Reikland Flesh Shade. So yeah, that's happening. So let's get down to brass tacks. Always remember to give your paint a good bit of shaking, like that, yeah. Don't know why I'm doing that on camera. You can hear it probably. It's a brand new pot. Gotta love it. And just take your brush that you're going to use. In my case, this is a Citadel medium base brush because apparently I have money. Apparently. And just slap it on. Don't have to be too neat if you don't want to go over the flesh and what you're going to paint other ways. You don't have to. Quite frankly, I'm lazy, so I will. Just remember, don't try and go too heavy with this. But, because it's thin, you will probably have to do 2 thin coats, as Mr. Rhodes says. Try to control how much you have on your brush as well. The reason I do it like this is because this way, once I've got all the dry brushing done, I then can see every bit of detail, even some of the things that you wouldn't notice when it was grey plastic, or even with the black primer. And that allows me to change the colour scheme slightly on the fly, such as, like, I didn't notice these scars on his back here until I put the gold on him, and they ran straight off because, you know, reasons. But now I can do a highlight when I get to the flesh in about a month. So just get a good amount in your brush. If you'll notice, I'm using my actual project box lid as my paint station / palette. This is because I'm using an air paint and I don't want to put it on my wet palette at the moment. That comes later when I'm doing something else. Yes, after this will probably be the only stage where I will be, well, dry brushing. So I figured I'd do this one first because dry brushing, while a pretty self-explanatory technique in principle, does seem to get done wrong a lot. So I figured I'd get this one out of the way because it's, one, my best technique, as in the technique that I am the most familiar with, and therefore one I'm probably the best at of the techniques. Not of all people of all times, I'm not that fucking good. Just yet. Just cover the model. Yeah. I realise I probably should just pause this and then come back to it when, I'm done. So, that's what I shall do. And we're back. As you can see here, I've got my 2 thin coats. Looking very nice, if I do say so myself. And once you've done this, so you've got to make sure it's a solid colour, because it's going to be the darkest shade, so we need it all in the recesses. And for the next step, what we do, take our Sigmarite, and a piece of tissue, any tissue will do, I suppose. I just happen to be using one that I got with my pizza the other night. Just a little bit of Sigmarite on your brush, and then work it into the bristles until you've got about that much on your brush. See, like that. And then basically what we need to do is not just catch the edges, we need to catch some of the surface as well, because of, if you look at a real piece of metal, like this 2p coin, you'll notice as the light catches it, it goes brighter, but you can also see there's a darker shade even along the flat bits of metal. It's because metal is textured, so that's what we need to try and recreate with this. So just like that, right across the metal, and try not to get into the recesses. And we'll be back once I've done this coat. And there we have the Sigmarite layer. And now we'll move on to the last bit of the dry brushing, the Necron compound. And now, when you do 2 layers of dry brushing, it's a good idea to have a second dry brush on hand. See, I've got another one, which is a bit older than the one I've just used, but it's actually dry. Because dry brushing with a wet brush just thins the paint and essentially turns it into more of an overbrush. So if we get a little bit of our Necron compound, in exactly the same way, just work into the bristles. Unlike the last step, where we're trying to only not hit the recesses, this time we just want to catch the edges. So we do it really lightly. So we want to run against the detail. so going up. Keep in mind that you will hit some of the flatter surfaces, but that's okay, because once we put the wash on, it'll all blend together. You also want to be slightly selective. Don't just do the entirety of the model, because highlights aren't universal. I mean, don't get me wrong, you want to try and do all the bits of armour and the weapons and the chains. What you don't want to do is hit every possible edge. So I'm going to be leaving the inside there, because there's no way there's light there, or in the inside of the arm. Just go up to about there. See along here, and then just there and there. And on the back, you see on the back of his leg, get around there. And that gives you that. Dry brushing is quite a quick technique. I could have probably got away with not pausing the camera on the last step, but I did it anyway, because quite frankly I don't think anyone wants to sit here for 3 hours while I paint a model. That comes later when I'm doing something else. So now that we have our silver done, take a wash brush, a large-ish brush. So I'm using the old Citadel wash brush because I'm cheap and it doesn't actually, well, mine's still serviceable somehow. So now we need Reikland's Flesh Shade. Now with this you don't want too much on your brush, just enough. So if we take a little dab like that, because this will drink wash, and then just use your palette to deposit some, so you have a new well. And then taking your miniature, what you want to do is just run it all over the model, focusing mainly on the recesses, but you can go over the top. In some places you will have to go over the top. What this does is it will sink all into the recesses, unlike a glaze which will sit over the flat surfaces. Now if you find yourself putting too much on in one area, just finish off the model, so completely cover. So I've put too much on this tabard here. Actually, it doesn't really matter because I'm painting the tabard a different colour. It will be brown, which I will probably do in the video after I've done all the armour. I will probably tie it in with the skin actually, because it will be a similar process. So I have all the wash on now, and what you do, deal with where you put too much on, clean your brush, get the excess water off, and while it's still damp, just run it onto the model. And this will pick the extras up that you don't want. Now, it's a good idea to leave this for about an hour. To dry. Obviously, allow for, if your room is, super hot, or you know, warmer than mine. My room's a little cold, but that's simply because it's at the back of the house and it doesn't have that double glazing for some fucking reason. So I'll be back in a little while. Enjoy. And now that that's dry, just a few little touches really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small layer brush, and this is just to add a little razzmatazz to the armour trim. Oh, don't want that one, I want that one. So if I take my Stormhost Silver, give that a good old shake. Now what I want to do here is on the parts that's going to stay gold, so this is the point where I decide what is trim and what is flat armour. I'll just take my Stormhouse Silver and just choose one or two edges just to highlight. So I'm going to do along that bit there and down here, because you'll notice there's a little nick in it, so just tap in the rivets as well, and then along here, just, you don't want to take every edge, just a few of them. So just like run along the teeth. I find if you end up putting a little bit too much, just tap your finger on it and it blends it in like that. So I'm just going to do put the nose there and just along that bit there on the crest. Gives it a little bit of extra. Another thing that I want to do on this miniature is I'll show you one of the finished miniatures. So this is this will be my Exalted Deathbringer, which is him, her. If you'll notice, they all have silver helms with glowing blue eyes. And so yeah, essentially this is what he's going to roughly look like, apart from different skin tone and I think a little less bone on him actually. So to get that silver helm, what I do, I now take a medium layer brush, which I have here, and I'll take some Leadbelcher. At this point I could actually do all the metal on the model. I'm not going to, because I prefer to do the weapons and whatnot after I've done the armour. So thin it down with a little bit of water, so 2 thin coats again, and just cover the faceplate and the back of the helmet, apart from the crest and the chin. Don't know why I just closed that pot, it's bloody annoying. Didn't quite have as much as I wanted. Oh my. Let's start out to say this now. Using your lid of your project box as your palette is not exactly the best thing you can do. You just need to be very careful not to get onto what is essentially trim. I won't be pausing the camera for this because it's not that time consuming of a step. In fact, I'm done. So he has the silver base. So the lead belcher base upon his head, once dried, will be layered with Storm High Silver. Then left alone. No need for washes because it's supposed to look bright and silvery. And I suppose I should, seeing as that's going to take a little bit to dry, let's do a little bit of filling in on the armour. So if we take our corn, what we need now is corn red. I'm using corn red air because, as I said, I like it thinner. Like so. And obviously, same again, put a little bit on your palette. And just because I'm doing this over gold, the paint actually spreads a little better. I mean, I still will probably need 2 thin coats. But in some places I'll probably get away with it. Sorry if you can hear me breathing. It's fun life of a smoker, I suppose. At least I'm not coming down with a fucking cold again. That was a fun Christmas day. I'll just do this crest for you. And I think we'll end the video there. So, the next time we meet, the fill-in colour will be done. So we'll have corn red across all the parts that aren't trim. And then we'll highlight it and shade it. And probably begin on the skin. Maybe even finish the skin. Depends how long I have to do a video. I mean, this video is only so long because, quite frankly, I had time. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe, as they say. And if you subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications of when I bother to update. Eh? Yeah? Yeah. And as always, enjoy. Have a good weekend, or week, or whenever the hell you're watching this. Hell, have a happy new year, even though it's been nearly a month. Yeah.